Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 23rd April 2016. The first article is related to US-Saudi alliance and United States-Saudi relationships in the light of President Obama's visit to Saudi Arabia. Understand this issue. In foreign affairs, the symbolism plays a very important role, gives a very good expression. In this case, the King Salman has received all the leaders visiting the Riyadh for Gulf Council meeting, but not the President Obama. That shows the fissures, how deep they are with regard to US and Saudi Arabia are concerned. What are these things? Now, when mass protest raised in Egypt against Erdogan, the United States did not like to intervene. Coming to Syria, the issue is like this. The Saudi Arabia wants Assad regime to go away, but America did not like to intervene because if direct military intervention happens, it leads to the destruction of the Syrian state, which it will make unstable, finally leading to the growth of Islamic State and other terror elements. Another issue has come up with regard to the Iran. The historical Iran nuclear deal, it has given a greater emphasis for the Iran to play in this region. And Saudi Arabia has vehemently opposed to this. So in this context, United States under the Obama reign, it is trying to see for a rebalancing act, which is going against the interests of the Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia's bombing of Yemen, it ultimately has led to the growth of Al-Qaeda in Arabian Peninsula, which is not very much in the interests of the United States of America. And if you see classically, these two are two different aspects of a relationship. United States explicitly states its interest is in promoting democracy, but here it is a conservative monarchy. But however, the economic necessities made them to come close together. For example, the oil was a major bonding force till date. Let us see the another article that is related to the Suhasini Haidar. Now, with regard to the Prime Minister's Modi approach towards the foreign policy, what is exactly happening? To what extent, in reality, whatever the agreements signed are taking a due shape? Now, understand, any foreign relationship or any relationship with a foreign country, it has to be based on a sound principles of values, and not just the commercial interests have to guide a relationship. In the previous thing which we have seen, United States and Saudi, they are not connected by the culture or values, but they are connected by the wealth. Once the shale oil boom has come up, United States is trying to find its space, find its idea a space in the West Asia. Now, similarly, even if India has to develop its ideas and thoughts, during the Nehruvian era, it is based on a value system. But today, more and more relations are defined by the economic needs. So in this context, what the author says is this: there is a last mile crunch with regard to various deals India has signed. Now, USA's President Obama visit, if you remember, for January 2015 Republic Day parade, the nuclear deal, it has taken a new reach beyond the liability law. But till now, India did not clinch a deal with the Westinghouse, the United States nuclear reactor supply corporate, or with the General Electric company. So, in the last time during the Nuclear Security Summit, when the Prime Minister Modi visited Washington, so everyone expected that it will take a shape, but it did not happen. And next, coming to the European Union, the 4 years the free trade agreement talks were stalled, but there is no progress at all. So, though Prime Minister Modi met the European Union delegation in Brussels, but no significant impact still happened. Coming to the Australia Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership, so the Nirmala Sitharaman, the Commerce Minister, stresses that it will be soon, it's a low-hanging fruit, no significant progress on this front too. In the France, you know, Prime Minister Modi, when he visited the France, government to government agreement on buying 36 Rafale aircrafts has been signed. But in spite of this, the deal did not reach to the final phase today. So it all shows that there is something called as, initially, an out-of-box thinking has appeared at the political level. So the politics can set the principles, but the detail has to be worked by the bureaucracy. Overstretched bureaucracy can be one reason. And the second thing is, the bureaucracy taking its time to finalize the detail and engaging with over bargaining can be a reason. But whatever, the summit style of leadership, persona-centric leadership will not be long-lasting with regard to the foreign relations are concerned. So this is what is the article tries to talk about. Coming to the India state for tat. Now, with regard to the Masood Azhar, the India, when requested UN for declaring him as a global terrorist, China has kept a technical hold on the matter. Now, China also has a small cancer. So that is what is an ulcer. I can say it's not a cancer. The ulcer is Uyghur militancy. Now, in the Xinjiang province. So in this case, there is a Uyghur leader, World Uyghur Conference leader, who was declared as a terrorist by China. He is attending for a conference in Dharmshala. India has given permission or visa to this individual, which China is objecting. Now coming to the Bombay case, President's rule. Article 356 expected to be a dead letter, but it is the most misused article we know. In SR Bombay case, the Supreme Court has clearly stated certain rules. That is, a floor test is mandatory, and then the governor's office and conditionalities of the governor's office. So in this case, before Bombay case, the Raj Bhavans are the places of the politics. So after Bombay case, more than the Raj Bhavans, the Speaker office is becoming a place for politics. The misuse of anti-defection law. Chief ministers, in spite of losing the majority, clinging to the chair. And then Speaker not showing the neutral behavior. An anti-defection law keeping the power in the hands of the Speaker. All these are the things which are leading to the misuse of Article 356 now. So in this case, the Supreme Court need to give a new rule to this situation to stop the misuse of Article 356. Now, populism. Understand, there are two things in a democracy, a substantive democracy and a procedural democracy. Now, a substantive democracy comes from the political choices enjoyed by the people. It means different manifestos of the political parties shall give different alternatives. The citizen shall be able to take these alternatives to choose the party of his choice. This is what is the situation we have. So in this case, in Tamil Nadu, if you take Amma canteens, all these things, in DMK or AIDMK, all these political parties, they are resorting to something called as populism. So when they are resorting to populism, the substantive democracy is suffering. AIDMK, it has built on persona and populism. The DMK initially was an ideological party, but slowly it has transformed itself into the populism. Freebies are the rule. There is no difference between the third front which has come into existence. So in these circumstances, the voters are reduced into passive beneficiaries, and the election becomes a transactional relationship. So that is going to damage the liberal democracy in the country in the long run. Now, RCEP. So now, in WTO you have TRIPS. There are certain countries which are part of TPP and RCEP. The Japan and Korea. Now this Japan and Korea, whatever the stringent restrictions on intellectual property exists in TPP, they want to bring it to the RCEP. So when these people already they are following this IP regime, automatically they get benefited under the RCEP too. But it is going to worst affect the countries such as India in the pharmaceutical sector. For example, the patent permissions have to be extended by 5+ years. And also there are loopholes which can give access to the evergreen patenting. So in these circumstances, the WTO, whatever the agreements, they are losing their value because of the growth of these regional trade blocks now. So that is a serious concern for the developing countries. Now let's come to the Indian Express. The going on 60, what it talks about. We all know that the geriatric population is increasing in India. They constitute 60 point or somewhere around 8.92%, and also it is increasing. So the 16.38 crore and 8% around is the total geriatric population. So it has got many of social implications to the society. One way, the particular joint families have given away for the nuclear families. And then the old age homes are increasing. And the second thing is, the geriatric population, they have a voting rights. So that shifts the policy benefits towards them. And the geriatric healthcare is not stressed in the Indian establishment, which is going to get due emphasis. So in this context, the geriatric group as a special voter output will get a due emphasis. Next is reality check. With regard to reality check, Raghuram Rajan's statement. So in a blind world, one-eyed person is the king. So more than the comment, see the truth behind that. What he said is, in 1960s, Indian economy was bigger than the Chinese. Now, Indian economy is not even 1/4 of the Chinese economy. And in this context, the Chinese economy is growing at 6% rate in spite of the huge size. Indian economy is growing at 7%. It means that to our size, whatever our growth rate is not sufficient. Taking our poverty situation into consideration, it is not the effective growth rate to address these challenges. Now coming to Pratap Banu Mehta's article. Now reservation systems, how they are changing in India. In Mandal Commission, the politics of the Mandal Commission, they have given new identity to the politics based on social justice. So finally the Mandal judgment, the Supreme Court has sealed it at 50%. Now new reservation movements have been coming up. The political leadership tries to take this opportunity probably in this way to gain their popularity. One, if you observe, there is a pattern over here. The demand for the socio-economic caste census is increasing, and this might be used to raise the 50% bar to the next level. And the second is the private sector reservations, demand for private sector reservations is also increasing. On the other hand, on the societal front, the Jat, Kapu, Patel reservation movements are gaining the pace. So it takes that there is a new societal reorganization on the basis of reservations is on the way. Now, coming to this article with regard to education, recently the Delhi government has sent the school principals to Cambridge to understand the modern methods of education. So in this context, the major problem in Indian education system is this. It is an excessive control. The CCTVs also is one idea proposed by the Delhi government. Installing of the CCTVs, all these things, they are going to increase the control, which is actually the problem of India. So more than this, providing a space for merit and providing for autonomy and also intellectual freedom, this will change the school education in India, not the controls, checks and balances. So this is what has been said by this article by Krishna Kumar. So these are the important articles today. Thank you very much.